Subscribe now. If you are someone who understands the value of time, history, and legacy, this video is made for you. Subscribe, because what you are about to hear may completely change the way you look at the coins you've held, spent, or ignored for decades. Close your eyes for a moment and think back to a time when money felt solid in your hand. Not plastic cards, not numbers on a screen. Real metal, real weight, real meaning. For many men who have lived through change, struggle, and growth, coins are not just currency. They are witnesses to history. And today, we are talking about one coin that has quietly stepped out of the shadows and demanded attention. The 5 Rand South African coin from 2021. At first glance, it looks simple, modest, almost ordinary. But experienced men know something younger generations often miss. The most powerful things don't shout. They wait. This coin was released in a time when the world was unstable, uncertain, and divided. Economies were shaking. Trust in paper money was fading. And in moments like these, nations returned to symbols of strength. South Africa did exactly that. The 5 Rand coin carries weight, not just physically, but historically. The metal itself represents endurance. It is not flashy. It is not weak. It is designed to last. That alone speaks to a generation that values durability over trend, substance over noise. This coin was minted in a year when survival mattered more than style. And that matters. Now let's talk about symbolism. South African coinage has always reflected pride, struggle, and identity. The 2021 issue carries forward a legacy built over decades. This coin represents resilience. A country that has faced hardship and transformation, yet continues forward. Men who have lived long enough understand this deeply. You don't reach 55, 60, or 65 without scars, lessons, and strength. This coin mirrors that journey. Collectors with experience know that value is never just about age. It's about timing. It's about condition. It's about story. The 2021 5 Rand was minted during a period that future historians will study closely. Coins from critical global moments often gain attention not immediately, but later, when perspective sharpens. Smart collectors position themselves early. Wise men recognize patterns. There are rumors, quiet conversations among seasoned collectors, about limited circulation examples, pristine strikes, and untouched pieces that never entered everyday use. Coins like that don't stay ordinary forever. They become reference points, benchmarks, the kind of item that gets passed down, not spent. This is where experience matters. Younger collectors chase hype. Older collectors understand patience. The 5 Rand 2021 is not about quick flipping. It is about long-term significance. It sits at the crossroads of modern minting and old-world collecting principles. Strong metal, clear design, historical context, and a generation that still respects physical wealth. Imagine holding this coin in your hand. The cool metal, the solid feel. Knowing it was created during a time when the world questioned everything. Knowing that decades from now, people will ask where you were during those years. And you will have a tangible answer. Men who built businesses, raised families, and survived economic cycles understand one thing very clearly. Real value reveals itself over time. Coins like this are not for everyone. They are for those who see beyond face value. For those who understand legacy, many dismiss modern coins without looking deeper. That is their mistake. History shows us again and again that underestimated coins become legendary, especially when they are tied to national identity and global turning points. The 5 Rand 2021 stands firmly in that category. Some keep it in a drawer. Some lock it away. Some don't even realize they own something special. But those who study, who observe quietly, who understand the rhythm of value, are paying attention. Now listen carefully, because this is the part most people will miss. There are whispers in the collecting world. Not loud, not public. Quiet discussions about exceptional specimens, flawless condition, rare minting variations, and the future demand from elite collectors. And according to those discussions, the ultimate valuation projection for a perfect, untouched, historically verified example of the 5 Rand South African coin from 2021 reaches an astonishing figure, $16 million. Before we begin, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you never miss another deep dive into the rare treasures that shaped history. Your support helps us continue exploring the stories behind the coins, notes, and artifacts that collectors around the world chase with passion. Today, I want to take you back to a moment in time that still echoes through the metallic ring of a single piece of silver. Imagine South Africa in the early 1940s. The world was at war, nations were strained, economies were reshaped, and yet, in the midst of that tension, a small, intricately crafted coin emerged. A coin that many walked past without a second thought. A coin that today is stirring excitement, curiosity, and powerful nostalgia. The 1942 South Africa 2.5 shillings. Now picture this. You're standing at a market stall decades ago. Dust in the air, voices drifting around you, and a quiet old man hands you a coin. You don't know its future. You don't know the story fused into its edge, its silver, its weight. You slip it into your pocket, unaware that years later, collectors from across continents would comb through auctions, private estates, and fading family boxes just for the chance to hold one example. There was something special happening in 1942. Silver was becoming scarce. Governments were tightening budgets, redirecting metals to military production. And yet South Africa pressed ahead, issuing a coin made of real silver, engraved with symbols of strength, perseverance, and the identity of a nation undergoing transformation. The 2.5 shilling coin was never a showpiece. It was meant for daily use. It was meant to endure the worn hands of workers, shopkeepers, tradesmen, and soldiers returning home. But that is precisely what makes it so compelling. It was designed for the people, yet today it has become a symbol of rarity. Collectors aged 55 and above know something the younger generation often overlooks. A coin is not just its metal. It is memory. It is a record. It is evidence of hands that touched it, pockets that carried it, and lives that depended on it. Some coins come to us polished and perfect, untouched by time. But this one, the 1942 2.5 shillings, often bears the scars of history. Small scratches, faint marks, slight softness of detail. And those signs are what many older collectors appreciate most. They speak of authenticity. They speak of life. Think about it. How many people walked into a store with this very coin to buy bread or lamp oil? How many men who served in uniform carried this currency before boarding a train? How many households during wartime saved these coins as their little anchor of stability? When you pick one up today, you're not just lifting silver. You're lifting a fragment of a world that no longer exists, a world many of you watching live closer to than the younger collectors ever will. And then there's the artistry. On one side, the iconic coat of arms, an emblem of unity and identity. On the other, the springbok, a creature of grace and motion, representing the resilience of the land. Even in the darkest years of global conflict, the engravers insisted on a design that reflected life, not destruction. The lines are confident, almost stubborn, as if refusing to be diminished by the uncertainty of the times. That determination is what gives this coin power. It isn't rare simply because few survive. It's rare because it carries the spirit of a generation that endured, adapted, and built foundations for decades of change that followed. For men in their 60s watching right now, this coin speaks your language. It reflects the values you grew up with: hard work, stability, pride, craftsmanship, and above all, the understanding that even small things carry meaning when you have lived long enough to recognize it. Now, let's talk about what makes collectors chase after this piece today. Condition plays a role, yes. Silver content plays a role. Historical significance plays a role. But perhaps the biggest driver is the emotional weight it carries. Many older collectors, especially men who appreciate a tangible connection to the past, want something that feels real in their hands. Something that carries age without fragility. Something that looks back at them like an old companion. The 1942 2.5 shillings delivers exactly that. It is a coin with backbone, a coin with presence, a coin that whispers stories rather than shouting them. And when a coin whispers, true collectors lean in closer. Imagine passing this coin down to a grandson or a granddaughter. Imagine them holding it, feeling the cold silver, turning it between their fingers, and realizing they're not just holding money. They're holding a moment frozen in history. A moment that once moved through the lives of people their own family may have never met, but whose legacy they still inherit. That is the beauty of collectible currency. It outlives us all, but it carries our touch forever. And now we come to the part many of you have been waiting for. Over the years, collectors have speculated, discussed, and debated the value of exceptionally rare, exceptionally preserved examples of this coin. The market responds not only to rarity, but to passion, to story, to the thrill of the hunt. Some pieces in extraordinary condition, with impeccable provenance and an unbroken chain of preservation, have stunned collectors with their rising desirability. So let me leave you with this powerful thought. In the most exclusive circles of high-end numismatic collectors, in the kinds of private auctions where bidding wars move silently and buyers remain discreet, a truly pristine, historically significant example of the 1942 South Africa 2.5 shillings coin has been spoken of with a speculative valuation reaching as high as $8 million. Whether or not such a specimen ever emerges into the public eye remains to be seen, but the belief, the excitement, and the mythos surrounding it continues to grow. And that is the magic of this coin. Not just its metal, not just its age, but the possibility it holds. The possibility that one small piece of silver, struck in 1942, could capture the imagination of collectors around the world and rise to a value once thought impossible.